first came to his notice, or he came to my notice really, that my husband had been on dialysis and having to travel 3 times a week down to the Wellesley Hospital in Toronto. One of the doctors at the Wellesley Hospital said, well, why don't you contact your local MP? So quite honestly, I said, that's not going to do any good. They're not going to take any notice of me.
I want you to know in the time that I was health critic and I worked on this issue for some 2.5 years when the NDP government was in power, that I personally lost 7 friends in Colllingwood and Alliston because of the inability of the previous government to do anything but study the dialysis issue in this province.
We had several people who were traveling hundreds of kilometers 3 times a week to get dialysis treatments. They had to go all the way to Toronto. And Jim kept pushing the government of the day, the NDP government, to build satellite clinics in Colllingwood and Alliston so that these individuals wouldn't have to travel those distances, because the travel really contributed to their failing health condition. It was really taking its toll on them. And Jim was extremely successful in pushing hard through petitions, through questions, through policy forums, and getting the government to shift gears and finally acknowledge they needed to build satellite dialysis clinics. And now there's many around the province. There wasn't at that time.
And the fact of the matter is, Mr. Speaker, I was very proud on behalf of our government on August 17th to be able to take some of the administrative savings we had found in the healthcare budget to reinvest $25 million into dialysis services, and for the first time in the history of this province to make that announcement in a way that will drive those services closer to where the patients live and work and bring dignity back to their lives, Mr. Speaker.
I was absolutely astounded that it must have been the very morning that he got my letter that I got a phone call from him saying, could he come up the next day and have a meeting with my husband and me.
This is one of the fastest growing diseases. End-stage renal kidney failure is one of the fastest growing diseases amongst us today. It grows at least a rate of 10% per year.
And he came in and he was so nice, so friendly and so eager to help. And he was phoning people all over the place and doing everything right on the spot there to get things organised as well as he could. And Mr. Wilson was in contact with us all the time, letting us know how things were progressing and what was going on.
But what struck me most was Jim carried the policy day. He got the government to concede they'd screwed up, needed to fix it. But that wasn't good enough, because he recognized that that wouldn't come quickly enough for his constituents who had to travel that distance. And he continued to push hard to get those satellite clinics built. And what that told me is that Jim got into politics for the right reasons, because he cared about people. It wasn't just about the policy scorecard. It was about making a difference for people.
And in fact, he made it possible to extend my husband's life because of not having to travel down to Toronto. And, you know, I should be grateful to him for as long as I live. He's a wonderful person.